As a kid, I was mostly on the Nintendo gang. All Sonic was to me was weird inflation jokes and forgettable non-Pokemon mascots. And as I grew up, I never really got the curiosity to try it either. Until a certain pandemic we all know about kinda showed up. During that time, I bought a bunch of games for my PS4 because they were on sale, so I could need it all in my room. While I was scrolling through Amazon, because there was no way I'd go to a store at that point, I came across Sonic Mania. At only 15 bucks and with the DLCs, I thought it was a steal and I decided to buy it even though I had never gotten interested in Sonic before. It just looked kinda cool, you know, and I'm a pixel art enjoyer. And 5 years later, it is still on my shelf, sad, lonely, untouched. It took me 5 more years to decide to play a Sonic game, and it wasn't even Sonic Mania. The whole reason I decided that I wanted to play a Sonic game was because I had watched Sonic Prime, and I became a Sonadol fan in the process. I'm so sorry. However, I played my very first Sonic game way before that. It was actually the funny detective game they made for April Fools, but I don't know if you can consider it a real Sonic game. The very first true Sonic game I played after watching Prism was actually Forces. Now, I know it's definitely not a favorite for Sonic fans, but as a first-timer, I actually liked it. Don't get me wrong, it has a lot of issues. Some game-breaking bugs, some going off the rails moments, a character creation that's just incredibly weird. It felt like a fanfic, and in a day and age where a lot of us are trying to get back in touch with our childhood selves, it was exactly what I needed. Some silly, dumb, fun plot. Right after playing it, I immediately went back to AO3 to read fanfics on it. I know it doesn't excuse all the issues it has, and I know we should always aim to have better games, but I actually had fun with Forces. It made me want to try the other games. From the cool, underused villain to the kind of dark tone it was trying to have, it just felt unique in some kind of teenage fanfic forum ways. It's really hard to explain the appeal of it. I won't go into much more details as I'd like to make a more complete video on this game, but it's basically a typical Resistance story. I really love the darker side of it, but I wish it had been expanded on more. As Sonic barely reacts or changes after being captive and tortured for 6 months, for example. There's also a Shadow DLC. It's interesting, but too short, unfortunately. It follows Shadow's side of the story, and it's a prequel to the events of the game. It also gives more insight on Infinite's backstory, which is very interesting, but again, underdeveloped. Infinite is a really edgy villain, which could have, just like many other aspects of the game, used a bit more polish in development. Still, his OSTs are banger at least. Speaking of OSTs and soundtracks, I know it's not everyone's opinion, but I'm actually really biased towards Sonic Forces. Fist Bump is still one of my favorite soundtracks of the whole Sonic franchise, and I listen to it on the daily. Overall, I like the game. I think my least favorite part is the classic Sonic levels though. Classic Sonic just feels like a weird tacked-on addition to the whole thing, and I'm just not a big fan of it. The second game I played was Sonic Colors Ultimate. The aesthetic is so different from Sonic Forces. It's the complete opposite. It's really colorful, and it has some vivid and dynamic environments. I love it. Again, we get some amazing soundtracks with this one. The opening sequence specifically is a bop, and since I don't have any nostalgia for this game, I do prefer the new updated soundtracks to the old ones in most cases. But it really all boils down to personal preference in the end. Whatever version of it you're listening to, Reaching for the Stars is an incredibly inspiring soundtrack that fit the whole vibe so well. The plot is also interesting and somewhat present, though it has some unfunny forced jokes sprinkled in a bit too often. Sonic and Tails go check out Eggman's park. He claims that this new park is definitely not evil at all TM. And of course, he's saying the truth. Eggman did nothing wrong. But Sonic and Tails are suspicious, and, well, okay, they're right, fine. Turns out Eggman has evil plans yet again. They meet Yacker, a cute little wisp guy, which Tails builds a translator for, and learn that Eggman is actually on a mission to capture wisps and try to use them to power a mind control cannon, which he'll use for world domination. which is a very original plan. In this game, Sonic can use the power of the wisps, which lead to different gameplay options like drilling underground, getting blasted in the air, or turning into a laser, for example. Some wisps I wasn't a fan of, but some became really iconic for me. Playing Sonic Colors actually led to my community going burst every so often while playing completely unrelated games because we just thought that sound effect was so funny. The game was a good time, honestly, and I really enjoyed the visuals and the boss fights. I'm also really happy to see Cubot and Arbot in there. I don't know if most people enjoy them being in the game, but I think they're fun. However, I came across quite a few game-breaking bugs again, which made the experience less enjoyable in those specific cases. I don't know if the original had them or not, but I actually got completely stuck due to a jumping on the wall mechanic that just didn't work at all in some instances, and I had to switch to keyboard play to be able to do that properly. So that was a problem for sure.
Burst!
Sonic Flora Episode 1 was probably my least favorite out of all the games I tried. I didn't finish it because I got stuck at a dumb puzzle in the second act of the Lost Labyrinth and I didn't want to have to look up a guide. I don't necessarily think Sonic 4 is a super bad game. I was initially a bit off-put by the graphics, but they ended up growing on me. The OSTs are nice, as usual, though I don't think any really stuck out to me that much compared to the other games. If anything, the Kazan OST is maybe a bit lackluster. I don't know. When it comes to pure gameplay, it has some fun levels. But who thought it would be a good idea to make me stop to try and solve a puzzle so I could progress in a game about going fast? Listen, I'm a pretty chill person when it comes to video games. I have very rarely stopped playing a game out of rage quit, but this was one of those times. My chat was actually having a great time because it was the first time ever I started swearing at a game. Like, seriously swearing at a game. To be fair, I was also forced to play with a keyboard, and that did not help as I'm a notorious keyboard control hater. In general, the game feels like it made me stop a lot. It didn't feel like going fast while trying to keep a rhythm to bounce on enemies and such, like you do in the usual Sonic platformer game. I didn't feel cool while doing things in there. It felt a bit like a chore sometimes. I know I'm not really good at platforming in Sonic, and I accept that, but this is definitely the only game where I felt it this hard. I don't really have a lot of other things to say about this game. I might try to revisit it after looking at a guide for that damn level, or maybe try to play it off stream at a decent hour of the day so maybe my brain is functional. That could also help. So after that experience with Sonic 4, I really wanted to reconcile with Sonic 2D games, and the next one I tried was Sonic Mania. It was still sitting in my library and I still hadn't touched it at that point, so it just made sense to finally play it. And right off the bat, amazing soundtracks, and probably my favorite ones out of all the ones I listened to. I didn't finish the game. I believe I got to the second zone of Studio Polis, but that's not really on the game, and it's more a skill issue coming from me, which really sets the difference between Sonic 4 and Sonic Mania. I had a hard time grasping the controls, as I do with the 2D Sonic games. Speaking of Studio Polis, the first zone actually has my favorite soundtracks out of all the Sonic games I've talked about today. It's so jazzy, it's so feel-good, it's so happy, I don't know. It just has that vibe. Friday night vibes. The visuals are also absolutely stunning, though maybe the environments can be a bit too busy in places and less clear than I would like, but still really pretty. Green Hills is also as classic as ever, and I love it. And god, that animated cutscene at the start, it just feels like there's so much polish put in this game. Also, I got to experience the dramatic Sonic drowning music, so that's cool. I don't really have any issues with Sonic Mania. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about it. I just have a hard time clicking on the 2D gameplay, but again, that's solely on me, not the game. It's not that I dislike it either, or that I don't like working on my skills to get better at games. It's just that it's not clicking for me. It's really hard to explain. I'll probably replay it in the future anyways. Now onto the very last Sonic game I played before this video. 3D Blast for the Genesis. I bought the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive collection before it was removed from the store, and I'm really happy I did. I'm somewhat curious about trying out the Saturn version of this one as well, but maybe later. I know Sonic 3D Blast is objectively prettier, but I kinda actually like the vibrant, overly saturated JPEG look of the Genesis one after playing it long enough. Call it Stockholm Syndrome, it just has that feel to it. The one thing it doesn't have over the Saturn version, though, is saves.
Hi, editor here. The Saturn version also doesn't have a saving system, even though it literally has a memory card.
Which means I've played it twice and I still haven't finished it because I can't find the time to play the whole thing in one go. The story for Sonic 3D Blast is really basic. Eggman is using cute little birds, Flickies, to power the robots that he's using to do evil stuff, and we're here to free them. It does the job, but it's not really present in the game aside from like the general gameplay idea. It does feel like a nice change of pace compared to some of the other games though. As for the gameplay, you have to go through maps, destroy enemies, and free a certain amount of Flickies by destroying these enemies. And then when you have all the Flickies in the level, you go to a giant ring, the end of the level, and that sets them free for good. There's different kind of Flickies, and they'll act differently if you lose them, because yes, you lose them if you get hit, which can get very annoying because they won't just follow you, and some of them will fly around the map, and good luck finding them at that point if you didn't notice you lost them. I was somewhat skeptical when I launched the game for the first time. It felt like Sonic was walking on ice, the floor was slippery, and I honestly had a hard time learning the controls. The spin dash, I couldn't do the spin dash the first time I played. I played for a few hours, was somewhat happy with it, but also very unsure about the controls and difficulty, because I got stuck at a jump platforming part, and I wasn't sure I would play it again. Yet, when I came back to it the second time, I found myself already used to it and its gameplay. It clicked! I could really tell I had already played the game, and I felt much more at ease playing it, and I just had an amazing time. Sonic 3D Blast rewards you for learning how to play it, honing your skills at it. It's incredibly satisfying when you come from a low skill level like me and slowly become better at it with each game session. That's what makes it such a good game to me as well. The minigames to get the Chaos Emeralds in the Genesis version are also super fun and a good change of pace from the usual gameplay. I've heard they're different in the Saturn version, but I can't really speak on it, I haven't played it. While Sonic Forces has been my favorite in terms of atmosphere and story, and colors, and Mania have some of my favorite soundtracks, this one is definitely the game I had the most fun with gameplay-wise, which is big for me because I'm more of an atmosphere and story player. I haven't finished it yet, but I absolutely intend on going back to it soon enough. After playing these Sonic games, I've realized that, so far at least, I actually prefer 3D Sonic games, which I don't think is a popular sentiment. And I was somewhat surprised by it as well, as I tend to really like 2D games and prefer them. But overall, it probably comes down to characters, story, and atmosphere. What I love most about Sonic is definitely its characters, probably because I started getting interested in it with the TV shows, and the 3D games, while not perfect at all, really fleshed them out. Not always in a cohesive way in between different games, but still, the personalities feel more present in the 3D games so far. I love hearing them talk, I love seeing how a story unfolds. Even if the story isn't the best, it's something. Gameplay is of course important as well, but since I'm bad at both 2D and 3D gameplay for Sonic, and I tend to be a story player most of the time, the characters being much more present and put in front is what makes 3D win. Though weirdly enough, my favorite gameplay out of all of the ones I've tried was Sonic 3D Blast. You're never too old to start playing new franchises, and I'll more than likely play some other Sonic games in the future. They can be hit or miss, but they all feel very special. I also have Sonic plushies and merch now, so I truly got brainwashed and I don't think I'll be able to stop myself. It's a new hyperfixation. I'd love to know which Sonic game is your favorite, especially if I haven't played it yet. For now, and as usual, let's settle! Don't forget to like the video, and also you can check out my streams over there. I do cool things. I play Sonic.